So, after watching the video, you may notice that over the course of my 5 times brushing my teeth, there are some different amounts of times by which I'm brushing my teeth. Now, you'll notice all of these are measured in seconds and they represent a group of numbers that are all measuring the same thing. Now, anytime that happens, we call that group of numbers our data or our data. Those are the things that we're measuring. Now, the cool thing about data is every piece of data in a data set tells a story. We're going to see what story that this data set tells us. So we're going to be looking at 4 vocabulary words that are going to be really interesting to us today. Now, those 4 words are the mean. Starting off, the mean is the average in a group of numbers. Um, the average kind of measures the number in the center normally, and we'll talk later about why sometimes the average might not be exactly the center. Now, to find the average of a group of numbers, you are going to add all of the numbers in the data set together, and then you are going to divide by however many pieces of data there are. So for our number set, we would add all of our numbers together, and then we would divide by 5 because there were 5 times that I brushed my teeth. All right. The second word we're going to talk about is the median. The median is the number in our data set that's in the very middle. Now, the interesting thing about the median is for the median, we have to have the numbers in order from least to greatest. That's going to be really important that the numbers are in order from least to greatest so that we can find the middle number. All right. The third word we're going to talk about is the mode. And the mode is the number that appears the most often. So any number that appears the most often is our mode. And in some cases, there is no mode if none of the numbers appear most often. And lastly, we have our range. Your range is measuring everything inside of the data. So it's saying what is the smallest number, what is the largest number, what is the difference between those two. So finding the difference, remember, think of subtraction. So we're basically subtracting the biggest number and the smallest number. So the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. And we're actually going to use those 4 things as we head back over here. Now, I want you to think about these 4 numbers: 83, 73, 83, 21, 86. All right, you ready? So we're going to write down 83, 73, 83, 21, 86. So those are our 5 numbers within that data set. Now, in order to find those 4 things, we're thinking about the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. Now, in order to find those 4 things, the first thing that I always find it most easy to do is to take my numbers and organize them somehow. We always want to organize our data set, and an easy way to organize a data set is to put those numbers in order. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that in a different color so it's easier to see. So say there's my data set. I'm going to put them in order. So that's going to give me 21, 73, 83, 83, 86. Now, the first thing I kind of notice about my data set here is that I have 4 numbers that kind of fit together, and then I have 1 number that seems very different, which would be this one. Anytime you have a number that is very different, we call that piece of data our outlier. So 21 would be an outlier here, and we're going to talk more about outliers as we go on throughout the week. Now, first word we're going to be looking at is the mean. To find the mean, we would add all 5 of these numbers together and then divide. So I'm going to use my trusty calculator. Sorry, wrong button. I'm going to use my calculator here. Maybe. So starting off, we're going to add 21 plus 73 plus 83 plus 83 plus 86, which gives me a total of 346. 346. And I'm going to divide 346 divided by 5. Now, I know that 346 divided by 5 is not going to be perfectly divisible by 5 because it is in the fifth. I'm going to get a decimal here, which is going to give me 69 and 2/10. And that's going to be my mean. Now, you'll notice that number kind of falls in the middle of our data, and normally your mean will fall close to the center of your data. All right, so for the median, remember we are looking for the number in the center. One thing I notice is it's not the smallest, it's not the biggest, not the next smallest, it's not the next biggest, which means this number must be our median. So 83 is our median. The mode is which number occurs the most, which in this case, we only have 5 numbers. 83 is the only number that occurs more than once, so that's the mode. And then our range is always the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number. So we're going to be going from 86 to 21. So our range is going to be 65. So we have our 4 values here: our mean, our median, our mode, and our range. We will be talking a little bit more about this concept of an outlier, 21, and which of these things, the mean, the median, the mode, and range, it affects the most, and which of these things, the mean, the median, the mode, and the range, it affects the least. So that's kind of where we're going to be going and talking about those 4 words. But make sure that you know the meaning of each of those 4 words.